It feels like everyone's talking about AI, right? Investing in it, panicking about it. But what if all this hype is actually one giant distraction? In this explainer, we're going to ask a really important question. Is our obsession with AI making us lose sight of the real fundamental problems that are holding our businesses back? Okay, let's start with a feeling I bet a lot of you know. You look at your dashboards and everything is green. Website traffic is up, engagement is soaring, but the one number that actually pays the bills, revenue, it hasn't budged an inch. This quote just nails that frustrating feeling, doesn't it? That gap between being busy and actually making progress. So, what's our go-to solution for that flat revenue? More and more, the answer is, let's throw some AI at it. But hold on. Here's a little reality check. The failure rate for corporate AI projects is a whopping 80%. 80! So you've got this massive promise on one side, and this even bigger failure rate on the other. What in the world is going on? So, why this huge disconnect? Well, that brings us to our first big idea, the great distraction. It's all about how the constant hype is causing leaders to lose focus on what really matters. A futurist named Josh Allen Dykstra actually gave this a name. He calls it the great distraction. And the danger, he says, isn't that leaders are going crazy. No, it's that all this hype is causing them to stop using their minds in the most important way, strategically. They're just chasing the next shiny technology instead of thinking deeply about their own business. Dykstra uses a perfect analogy here. Think of AI right now like one of those droids from Star Wars, the ones. They're incredibly smart at a very specific task, like polishing a ship or handing you a tool, but they have absolutely no idea what the mission is. They've got the smarts, but zero wisdom. And that's the key, right? AI is an amazing tool, but it can't tell you which problems are actually worth solving in the first place. And that really gets to the heart of it all. Are we even pointing these incredibly powerful new tools in the right direction? Let's dig into how we so often end up treating the symptoms instead of the actual disease. You know how it is. A big project fails or you lose a huge deal. What's the first thing we do? We blame the usual suspects. Oh, the price was too high, it didn't have this one feature, there was a bug, or my personal favorite, the data was bad. These are convenient excuses, but what if they're not the real reason? What if they're just symptoms of something much, much deeper? Because the real signs of a problem are usually about people and process. I mean, does any of this look familiar? Sales blames marketing for bad leads. Marketing blames sales for not following up. You are drowning in dashboards, but you have no real answers. You're stuck on this hamster wheel of launching campaigns that don't move the needle, and all your expensive tech tools don't even talk to each other. See? These aren't tech problems. They're signs that your internal system is broken. So, how do we get past all these surface-level symptoms and find the true root cause? Well, we need to put on our detective hats, and there's a simple but brilliant investigative tool for this called the 5 Whys. This technique actually came out of Toyota from a guy named Taiichi Ono. The idea is just dead simple. You keep asking the question why over and over. Each time you ask, you peel back another layer of the problem, kind of like an onion, until you get right to the very center, the broken process that started the whole mess. Let's walk through a classic example. So the problem is, bolts are getting messed up on the assembly line. Okay, why? Because the threads aren't being cut cleanly. Why? Because the cutting tool wasn't changed out. Why not? Well, the bin for replacement tools was empty. Why was it empty? Turns out the whole bin fell off the shelf. And the final, crucial question, why did the bin fall? Because a single metal foot on the shelf had rusted right through and failed. Boom, see what just happened? We didn't stop at bad cutting tool. That was just a symptom. We dug all the way down to a complete process failure. There was no process for inspecting the equipment regularly. The root cause isn't a single thing. It's a broken system. And that is exactly the kind of thinking we need to bring to our business projects. All right, so now that we have our detective tool, let's go back to that scary 80% failure rate for AI projects. What's the real diagnosis here? What's truly broken? The first major culprit is something called strategic drift. This is basically when a company just stops paying attention and fails to adapt to the world changing around it. The classic case study is Kodak. I mean, they literally invented the first digital camera, but they were so invested in selling film that they completely missed the digital revolution. They just drifted further and further away from their customers until it was too late. This is tied to an idea called marketing myopia, and this quote from Theodore Levitt just says it all.
People don't buy a drill because they love drills. They buy it because they want a hole. Businesses fall in love with their product, the drill, and completely forget about the customer's actual need, the hole. And let's be real, chasing AI for the sake of AI is the ultimate example of focusing on the drill, not the hole.
So when we use our 5 whys on that 80% failure rate, the real diagnosis pop right out. The root cause isn't bad data or missing features. Nope. It's strategic drift, failing to adapt. It's marketing myopia, focusing on the tech instead of the customer. And it's system failure, having teams that are totally disconnected and working against each other.
Okay, that's the diagnosis. It's a bit grim, but how do we fix it? For our last section, let's look at a simple framework that can help us all make much, much wiser decisions.
Now, the solution here isn't to just give up on AI. Of course not. The solution is to be way more thoughtful. It's about asking the right questions before you spend a single dollar. And lucky for us, Australia's National Science Agency, CSIRO, put together a fantastic checklist for exactly this.
Here's the first question from their guide, and honestly, it might be the most important one. Are we doing this because we have a clearly defined business problem that AI is the perfect tool to solve? Or are we just doing this because someone in a meeting said, we need an AI strategy? Answering that one question honestly can cut through so much of the hype.
Next up, are we thinking about this as part of the whole system? A cool AI tool is totally worthless in a vacuum. It has to plug into your existing teams, your workflows, your other tech. If it doesn't integrate with the way you actually work, it is going to fail. It's really that simple. And finally, here's the ultimate gut check question, the one that sometimes takes a little courage to ask. Is there a simpler, cheaper, non-AI way to fix this? Seriously, sometimes the smartest answer isn't a multi-million-dollar algorithm. It's a better process or a simple checklist.
And this brings us right back to where we started. Remember what Josh Allen Dykstra said? The job of a leader today isn't to be a technology expert. It's to provide direction, guidance, and wisdom. It's to point those super smart droids at the right problems. So, as we wrap this up, I'm going to leave you with this one question to take back to your team. Before you kick off your next big project, AI or anything else, I want you to stop and ask everyone in the room, what is the real problem we are actually trying to solve here? The quality of your answer just might decide if you land in the 80% that fail or the 20% that succeed.